So, welcome back to another Patreon request, and this one comes from Joel Davis, who asked me to do a Faction Wars. This was a thing that was big on this channel, but I went over to Patreon to put it as an exclusive. Although I did do a recent one with the Galactic Empire and the Covenant, but that was more like promotion for Patreon. And as always, speaking of Patreon, if you would like a Patreon request, head on over to the link below and hit the 4th tier, where not only will you be able to get the exclusive videos over on Patreon, but also be able to send me requests for me to do on YouTube. So let's get into it with this faction war. Basically, Joel asked me to do more or less a faction war between, basically faction wars, basically one group from another series fighting another group from another series, and he asked me to do basically a faction war between Horde-Prime and his clones against the Borg. So yeah, the Horde versus the Borg. Yeah. So let's go through let's go through Horde-Prime. Or Hordak clone. I don't know what the fuck to call them, honestly. I guess the Horde. But yeah, Horde-Prime and his clones are essentially a world-conquering race, all made from clones of Horde-Prime, who is this, like, very elitist, very dangerous, cruel warlord who has been more or less killing countless galaxies and conquering them. Horde-Prime doesn't really depend on anyone other than himself. Literally. Everything he has is all clones. It is literally nothing but clones. Just clones right out the anus. And Horde-Prime has been known to commit mass genocide in what he considers eugenics. There's no better word to say it. This is... The thing is, though, is like, if you kill Horde-Prime, he'll just jump to another body. His consciousness is spread far and wide throughout his clones, and that's how he kind of stays immortal. Now, the same can be said for the Borg. Now, the Borg are kind of immortal in that they are one of the most dangerous races in Star Trek. The Borg, basically, we all know, they assimilate anything and everything they can find. The Borg are a biomechanical plague on the galaxy, and they won't stop until the entire galaxy is theirs. So what would it be like if Horde-Prime encountered the Borg? So this would be an interesting one, because both races kind of assimilate other races. One assimilates into itself, the other one just commits mass genocide in the name of its clones. Whereas so the big question you have to ask yourself is, can the Horde be assimilated? And their tech be assimilated? Honestly, I think the answer is yes. That's kind of the thing. There's not really a lot that Horde-Prime can do against the Borg when they arrive. They can just assimilate anything. It's going to take a few tries. Granted, it's going to take a few tries, but eventually they're going to figure out how to assimilate. The other thing is the Borg is really good at adapting at weapons. Horde-Prime and his army really do have some of the most advanced tech in the galaxy. But the thing is that you can only, that's only going to work for a short amount of time, because those motherfuckers, the Borg, they're going to adapt real quick. Like, if I had the ability to snap my fingers, I would, to kind of emphasize the point. You'll just have to take my word on it. But yeah, this is going to be a brutal war across the galaxy. The Borg essentially will probably adapt to Horde-Prime and his clones' weaponry. But the thing is that the Borg the big question you have to ask yourself is, can the Borg assimilate Horde-Prime clones? And what's going to happen if they do? Let me throw out this theory real quick. Let me just throw out this theory real quick. While I do think Horde-Prime clones, Horde clones are capable of being assimilated, the big question you have to ask yourself is, what's going to happen when they are? If the Borg get a hold of those clones, what's going to happen next? What is the big... what's the next thing that's going to happen? Because remember, the Horde are still connected as a mind connection between each clone. Same with the Borg. But the thing is like, if the Borg step into that, are they going to have access to all clones? Or that's the other thing, is that, like, and also it could act vice versa. If Horde-Prime and his clones manage to get a hold of, say, a Borg, could he, like, infect them with, like, some kind of, like, could he enter their minds? He is capable of entering other people's minds, so could he enter that one and take over the collective there? There is a lot of questions, but I think the Borg are probably going to be the winners of this matchup. The Borg are way more advanced, and they adapt to any and all situations. Horde-Prime's also a bit of an arrogant prick who thinks he is the superior race. So, in that regard, I think it is going to be the Borg that win, because they are a united force, and they've taken on a lot worse. Like, a lot worse. They've taken on a lot greater opponents. So, I'm giving this one to the Borg. But you guys tell me in the comments below, who do you think would come out on top in this faction war? Do you think it would be the Borg, or do you think it would be Horde-Prime? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, I would like to thank Joel Davis for this video. This was a lot of fun to do. And as always, like I said earlier, if you would like to have a video done, a Patreon request done, please hit the link below. Head on over there. Check out, just hit the 4th tier, and check out all the videos. That's where my Morbius review is, by the way. Yeah, that movie got ripped apart, if you want to hear that ramble. If you want to hear that angry rant. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.